Hello everybody and welcome! Today we are going to revisit the moon. A reason for that is that a lot of space news in the past few weeks concerned the moon. Well, not the moon in Kerbal Space Program, but the real moon. NASA wants to get their moon presence going on in the next few years, and there has been the first launch of a private moon lander. So I took this as the opportunity to kind of construct a little mission where I want to do some science with a special vehicle on the moon. But first, before we can do that, I want to construct a small little relay network around the moon. And that's what you're seeing here right about now. The goal is to set 3 satellites in equal spacing around the moon, so I have a relay network that can communicate with anything on the surface. Okay, first satellite away. It's really just a simple thing: probe core, solar panels, fuel tank, engine, antenna, period. And what I'm doing is sort of having a seeding orbit with the carrier rocket. If you want to know more about that, I'll link to a video where I explain that in more detail. Basically what you do, you have to have a special peri-apps and the target apo-apps, and then you can seed your satellites in close succession and have them in equal spacing around the moon. And this will look like that, at least around the moon, and around Kerbin, and around the entire solar system. Alright, but now it's time to get on with the real mission, and this is it. This is quite a bit larger than the relay rocket, as you can see, and we are now heading to the moon as well with it. What's in the fairing? Well, you will see rather soon, because of course we have to get rid of it to get some more efficiency gains from the rocket. Well, that stage separation could have gone more smoothly, but yeah, nothing broke on the second stage, so I'm fine with that. Alright, moving ahead a little bit in the time frame. We are already have completed our coast to the outside of the atmosphere. We're releasing the fairing, and there's a weird contraption in it. Okay, and now that we have the moon in our sights, we have already started pushing our apo-apps higher and pushing our orbit as high as we can. Oh, not as we can. Why is that booster still firing? Okay, weird things going on in this mission, but we have enough Delta V to get our translunar injection burn done. And yeah, now we are on the real vehicle. This is now completely contained in and of itself, so we don't have any stages left that we can use to transfer this to the moon. Alright, and the final fairing has also been released, and we have our encounter with the moon. Alright, everything going smoothly so far. Well, what I'm trying to do is, since, as I mentioned before, all of these plans and ideas how to get to the moon and do stuff on the moon and have a permanent presence on the moon and have new moon landers and whatever, I thought, well, the reason why we want to go to the moon is to know more about our little companion up there in the sky. And if we want to know more about it, we have to do some science on it, right? And of course, this science needs to be transported back to Earth for analysis. Now, there are 2 ways you can do that. You can construct your experiments in such a way that you can send the raw data back, or you want the experiments to be transported back to Earth, or Kerbin in this case, to have them analyzed properly and in more detail. Okay, what I've done here is sort of have my space tug thingy extract my landing craft from what is now becoming a space station around the moon, with crew accommodations and another relay, just because I thought it looks cool. Okay, and I messed up the thrusters again. yeah, what happened here is that I put the thrusters on the tug thing without noticing that everything else would be in the way of the thrust direction, so it would not thrust anywhere. So I had to add new thrusters, and yeah, now it looks completely horrible, but hey, that's Kerbal Space Program, right? You always have to work around your own stupidity a little bit. Hey, look at that, I wanted to get close to the moon arch and I got below the surface. Again. Okay, that was weird, and I honestly have not experienced that in a while, especially not with that rhythmic explosions going on. Okay, I've given up on getting closer to the moon arch because this thing is behaving rather unwieldy, but we are in the same crater, so we have the same biome that I wanted to visit. Alright, we are on a stable descent path. And as you can see here, this is quite the involved construction, so we have a lot going on here and we're going to unpack that real soon. But first we have to do our touchdown. Yes, this looks fine. Okay, going to release that right about now. First of all, throttling up, then releasing, then the game throttles down for me without me wanting that. But yeah, okay, we managed to do this. Anyway, I'm going to park this right around here. It should have enough fuel to get back into orbit, usually. Maybe I used a bit too much this time around. But yeah, we're gonna leave this right about here because of time constraints. Okay, extending some solar panels because we need energy and we can drill for some resources in here. And now the crew is going to get their science done. Okay, one of our scientists has now exited the main habitat and is entering the rover, and I also want an engineer on board so that she could repair a wheel should it get broken. Yeah, and they should work on their aim, those little Kerbals, shouldn't they? Alright, detaching the rover and driving around. Yeah, now we already lost our antenna. Thanks for that, guys. Cool jump, by the way. Okay, due to the relay network in orbit, we don't need the antenna anyway. But now we have done our science, and what we're doing now is... boom! We're sending it back. This is now my sort of ballistic missile, you could say. No, not really ballistic, but it's sort of my science payload that I want to get back to Kerbin without getting the entire apparatus on the way. So I tried to construct a lightweight missile and I was not able to fly it straight for a little while. And this little thing here is now heading back home. Should have enough delta V to make the trip easily. No matter on which side of the moon it is, by the way. Okay, I've skipped forward to the atmospheric re-entry and we have some nice fireworks going on. This is beautiful. And now we are on the descent. The heat shield is doing its work and the parachute as well. This is now completely, basically uncontrollable because the probe core does not have any SAS and whatever, and it also has only a few electricity units, and we have succeeded in delivering science back to our home planet. Okay, now that we've done that, we're basically spent our ammunition, so to speak. So what do? Well, we drive back to our base because we're going to do a long mission on the moon. This is going to be a multi-month or multi-year mission, and of course we need to send back a lot more science. So let's head back to the base and reload with our science revolver. Okay, fiddling around with the docking port so this thing gets aligned correctly. this works. Nice. Alright, now we have this contraption in the middle, and you see these 6 tubes around the central core, and in each tube there is another science missile, so to speak. So what we're going to do now, we're going to decouple this, and it should drop right into the launch base, so to speak, of the rover. And yes, it did, because in there is also a nice little docking port. Okay, once again decoupling this thing from the base. And yeah, we now have everything in place again to fire another science rocket back to our home planet. So in this way you can have all your science equipment on the moon or wherever, and you can send back that little missile to Kerbin to get all the science. Yes, there we go. Goodbye. Well, we didn't do any science, this was just for demonstration purposes. Alright, but okay, now that we have dropped that one science rocket, how do we get the other ones again into the rocket launch tube? Well, for this we use a lot of reaction wheels and the docking port in the middle. There we go. And now the science revolver has chambered another round and is ready to fire more of its science payload, first into the rover and then back to Kerbin. And once we switch back to another vehicle and back again to this, the docking port has re-engaged and it is now one stable base again. Alright, that's basically my idea for a long-term science base on the moon, at least in Kerbal Space Program. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and I would very much like to know what your ideas for a moon installation or a moon base would be, both in Kerbal Space Program as well as in real life. Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel for more and follow me on my social thingies. The links are in the description. Also, you can watch one of the 2 cool videos shown on the right. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.